Welcome to Tucson Hotel, your ultimate home away from home. Located in the serene town of Ejisu Echakrum, just off the Jabin Road, we offer you a haven of comfort and luxury. Step into our fully air-conditioned 40 bedrooms, where modern elegance meets convenience. Whether you choose our normal, standard, deluxe standard, or executive rooms, each one is equipped with Wi-Fi and DSTV, ensuring that you stay connected and entertained throughout your stay. Indulge your taste buds at our exquisite bar and restaurant, where our skilled chefs prepare a wide range of culinary delight to satisfy every palate. From local delicacies to international favorites, we have something for everyone. Planning a business meeting or a special event? Look no further than our state-of-the-art conference hall. With a capacity to accommodate 80 to 100 people, it is the perfect venue for your corporate gatherings or social celebrations. But that's not all. We proudly boast the largest recreational center in the Ejisu municipality. With a capacity to accommodate up to 2,000 people, it is the ideal location for concerts, weddings, and other grand events. It comes with 4 fully air-conditioned bedrooms and a kitchen as one package. Our luxury cars are also available for rent. Drive like a boss. To experience true hospitality and unmatched comfort, contact us today. Our friendly staff is ready to assist you. You can reach us at 0244 654 458, 0246 505 327, or 0241 418645. You can also email us at info@tucsonhotel@gmail.com. Tucson Hotel, your home away from home.
Mama Africa, me love you. Yeah, yeah. Ghana, we need you. Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm RASTAFARI, the cryptic warrior, live from Jamaica, representing for radio culture, GH Reggae Dancehall, the very best of the best, no gaites.
I say, heritage, radio culture, your #1 internet radio station. Me say, badding, up to the time.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yvonne Chaka Chaka, and I'm so proud to be Goodwill Ambassador of the Pan-African Heritage World Museum. It is time for the world to learn from the missing pages of Africa's history, art, culture, and indigenous knowledge. Join Africa to exhibit and curate her rich herbal plant farms, her historic places of African kingdoms, her beautifully sculptured park of heroes and heroines, Pan-Africa's hidden innovators and inventors, all in one 10-acre space of the Pan-African Heritage City in Ghana, Winneba Junction, 45 kilometers west of Accra. Visit our website. Let's together build a new humanity through walls of the Pan-African Heritage World Museum.
Radio culture.
Coulda never ever hold us down. We do culture, they wear the crown. Positive music in the community. On Reggae Reverb Show, just tune in. And here we easy. Voice of the one called Messiah representing for Radio Culture. Jabby love it. And the Reggae Reverb Show. You feel the energy? Just love.
Hit Web Radio.
And now on Radio Culture, GH #1 Reggae Dancehall online radio. Are you ready to hear this? Yeah, this is Fred Dread. Kente, word, sound, and power. Constantly in tune with Radio Culture Ghana. Click on the link and link up.
1212 Radio Culture. One, two, Radio Culture. Yes, are you ready? Reggae Reverbs airborne right now on your dial of choice, Radio Culture Online. Reaching you from Studio One, Texas, USA. And today we're bringing you the last edition of the show for the Roman calendar. Yes, emphasis on the Roman calendar, don't know. But yes, this is our last show for the year 2023. And so we have to make it special, don't we? Some people say you reserve the best for the last. I don't know about the last part. But yes, this is going to be one of my most enjoyable interviews. I can already feel it. Around the danger, yeah. We bring you today the man called Fireside, 7 Fireside. With a new sound, no energy, no vibes. 7 Fireside was a founding member of the iconic KENTE Band. He is now doing something extraordinary. I say he's redefining music as we know it. I think he has bypassed all the argument about what is reggae music and what is not reggae music. You will find more about that from himself. But today's interview is not only going to be about music. If you find a man like 7 Fireside, you better dig into his thought processes about some subjects that bug our minds day by day. So yes, we'll be doing the music, but we'll also be talking a lot about all different type of things. Let me take a minute out to say enough respect to everybody doing the listening on modernghana.com, on www.ghnewsnow.com, on my tuner radio and all the other platforms that are hosting this show. And of course, to everybody who has downloaded the app, thank you very much. Please do download the app. Are you ready? Are you ready to ride this one out? Let's ride it out with the man called 7 Fireside. Are you ready? The system into you. All right, let's go on the line right now and talk to the man called 7 Fireside. Blessed love, 7.
Blessed love, beloved. Wonderful vibe, man. Give thanks for the intro. Give thanks for what you're doing, my brother.
Every time. Give thanks for being you, period. Because I don't know, I can't list how many things you have to give thanks for, because...
Exactly. I was about to say that about you, too. I was about to give thanks for what you're doing, man.
And as the interview progresses, I'm sure a lot of history will be revealed. A lot of
has to.
Yes. A lot of people will get to know a lot of things that is not common knowledge, so to speak. And also, we'll get to, like I said, pick on your thought processes, and reason together, as you would like to put it,
Likewise, because I want to hear you out. The things you don't tell us, you know what I mean?
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll work it out.
All right. So, 7, tell us a little bit about yourself, because, there's a new generation of music lovers that are clamoring for the type of things that you do, right? Finding meaning in music rather than just listening to music for listening's sake or for dancing or for whatever. And that's not to put that aspect down, but music is a lot more than just the melodies, right? So, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself before we go in there.
Man, where do I start? Yeah, maybe as we're going, you can help me with some specific questions.
Yes, absolutely.
I can speak pidgin, right? So we talk pidgin too, right?
Free. Every aspect.
Thank you. So yeah, the thing we say, like, a man be what it's almost like people make us, right? People make people, right?
Yeah.
So so for me to sit here and say, I am this, I am that, and this and that, I'm from here, I'm that, it's cool, but the things that people make us who we are, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about parents, we can talk about, ancestors, and then we can talk about Haile Selassie.
Most definitely.
When I have to speak about the man self,
Yes.
Because that is where a man is coming from, that is where a man draw from. That's what make a man, what the man sees, what the man is,
Definitely.
So that is how a man can speak about it. But yes, of course, born in Ghana, raised in Ghana, brethren like you, a whole lot of brethren. We can go down the list, right?
Yeah.
Do I have to? People like that, and sisterins too. Make a man who a man is, the reasonings, the times together, correcting each other, like things man, the items say that set the man straight, clarify something, those are the things that make a man, we try to tap into the things that the ancestors say and do, and of course interpretations of that most of the time, because a lot of their ancestors live in a time to they themselves didn't write necessarily, and there was no mass media, right? So, like when we think of Obayas and Toba like this, she didn't write, but the things we hear about they fit to trigger things. The things we read about they fit to feed it. Those are the things I look at. Someone like Obayas and Toba is like a guidepost for I when man thinks look at the world, and not just her, of course, but she comes to mind in terms of Ghana. There's a whole lot of people in Ghana too, unnamed people who do similar things. So we can go into details of who are they and what they did, and then of course, we say all this, and then we bring it to the God of gods, King of kings, King Haile Selassie, the emperor, and that is where man stand,
Yeah, man. So I know that you personally, I've known you for decades now, and if there's one thing I know for sure about you, it's that you don't like to talk about yourself. So, every time, true. Every time you have to talk about yourself, you generalize it, because you kind of. It's an acute form of modesty. You always want to make it look like you are not at the center of any issue. Like it's more of a we thing, an us thing, an I and I thing, more than me as a person, But to kind of understand your music, right? And your how you come up with the music that you make and the messaging in your music and everything. Sometimes you want to kind of like understand the backdrop of what on what canvas has your life been painted,
Cool.
That's why sometimes you want
specific questions. Let me see if I can understand. I can respond.
I hear you. All right, so let's do it this way.
I can do justice to your questions.
Hopefully.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. So let's do this. How was your childhood like musically? Like, what were your earliest influences in music?
In terms of influences, direct influences, like anyone else, we grow up listening to radio, whatever things come true to us, right? So the programming, I quickly say this. I don't want to, I can't be very linear about it, like who comes first, who comes next. But one thing that struck me when I was very little was the work in terms of Ghana was Jeduble Ambule's work.
Oh.
Yes, because, I see him as, I'm sure a lot of people have said that, he was like, what we know today as hip hop, like rap music.
Yeah.
But I was hearing that thing from his angle, you know what I mean? And man, it really hit me real good when I was little. I was like, wow, what's this? What's this? We used to groove with it.
Yeah.
But of course, we're listening to music from Black US to a lot. You know, I remember James Brown, you know, Motown sound, and all that too. You know, we talk about Jackson, Stevie Wonder, the whole lot, Marvin Gaye, all those things, you know.
Yeah.
But that's just one side, right? I remember also that we used to go to the old man hometown, but the old man used to make us he loves to travel, so we go to different like villages, towns at weekends, you know. And I remember experiences there too, the music that they played for there, right? And it struck me as very particular. You know, I didn't, of course, when we were little, we wouldn't reflect on it too much. But the thing you say, you can start noticing they have a certain way of doing it, you know. And interestingly, when you come to this after the, you know, like we go weekend, or we come back on the weekday, we go to school, we go music class. Then they go start talking about this other kind of music, right? You know, or Igbo music, white people music, and it's like this is like a universe away from that. And to be honest with you, sometimes it starts to make it makes it. I mean, they make the music from the countryside look like it's not really music. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, it's not radio ready. It's not, you know, commercial. It's almost like they're playing without an audience, and like an external audience in mind. You know what I mean? If you go to a village and let's say a traditional group to play, it's like they're playing for themselves, for those who know what you're doing, right? Versus, we're doing this so that people can be involved or understand what we mean. This is a real thing. You know, sometimes we have this, I would say, this notion that African music is communalistic, right? So you can, if you know, if they all play together. So if you see that here's somebody, some group that plays, you just go and jump in and play it. I think that's not true. Just imagine, say, me at the Accra, right? Where I travel, go Eweland, right? Maybe Peki or, you know, Bando or something for some village. And then they decided to do something where they have the internal meanings based on internal rhythms of their life over there. Then I said, music is communal, so I go pick up the cowbell and I start play song. Just, you see how ridiculous I can look? I go ruin the thing. I don't know what they're doing. So I think those kinds of notions, they come from white ethnomusicologists.
But wouldn't you say that that's also the essence of creativity, though? Like, say, even though you don't know the features or the you know, the elements of whatever music type is playing, you still have a certain vibe where you could plug into it, and that may result in another sound, another type of sound.
Absolutely. I agree with that, but in terms of listening, yes. But in terms of messing with it, no. Like you're making music. You make music too, so I'm going to use you as an example. Let's say you're standing there, you're making music with your brethren, right? Serious. You're a serious musician. I played with you for a minute. We were together. We worked on a project together. We were a unit for a while. And you're doing your thing. You sing and you play bass. Very serious thing. It takes a lot of focus, a lot of concentration. It takes a certain particular person, right? And you and brethren, you figure this thing out, right? And you've written your songs. You know, you're doing your thing with your brethren. Somebody, you know, even if the person is from Ghana, you know, if the orientation will be the same and they just pick up an instrument and start to play, I'm sure you go tell them, say, hold up, man, you know, just wait. They're going to need to be oriented to the sound.
Yes, I agree.
You know what I mean? Or they go mess it up. You know, how long is the song? We're not playing a song for 5 hours, right? Maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, a long song, but you know, you go mess it up. You don't know what you did to it. Let's say a change comes around. You don't know if it changed.
That's right.
You know, it go start to do the same thing you were doing the first. Maybe right now is the time to go to a change. Those kinds of things. So I think it's highly problematic in my view. You know, when people just assume that.
I totally see what you're saying. in that
different if we all there on the same vibe. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And people understand the musical language you speak.
You know, I have like 3 different questions based on what you just said.
Please, let's
and
do
we'll
it.
be rolling it out one after the other because I still want to keep a certain pattern with the interview. But first of all, let me ask you, in the light of that, right? What would you say about this, modern day notion that we're hearing about reggae is exclusively for Jamaicans and should not be tampered with by anybody else? Meaning that maybe Jamaicans only know what they're saying or only know what they're doing and they want to keep it that way. What's your reaction to that?
I have two takes on it, like maybe contradictory takes, but I think they're the same. I'll say I totally agree on one level, right? And then of course there's the other take that's like, anyone that feels seriously about it must feel free to use it or whatever, But let me say why I agree to this, music is, to me, it comes off of how you're living, right? Not just how you appear to be living, right? So, the locks, the herbs, the slushy, we all hail His Majesty. Yeah. We all tapping into their African history and all that. But there's certain rhythms in Jamaica, right, that are particular to Jamaica, right? That will not be the same rhythms in Haiti. That will not be the same rhythms in the Virgin Islands, right?
Yeah.
Now, there's a contradictory part that I want to throw in. Okay, so if someone says, "Hey, leave it to the Jamaicans, let them play," for me, I'll step back because I do not know how the brethren and sisters in Jamaica are living. When I say no, it's a big K, right? I really don't. I've never been to Jamaica. I've never lived in Jamaica. And even if I've lived in Jamaica, like I'm living in the U.S. right now, right? I've lived here for a little bit, quite a little bit. But I can't pretend to know how people, brethren and sisters, where did they get to live. Like, no, I put a big K. I'm living how I know I live. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So suddenly for me to say, "Oh yeah, I like what you're doing, so yeah, I'm doing it," and then suddenly I start to say, "I know it." For me personally, I'm speaking as an individual. Some other people can be more comfortable with, saying, "Oh yeah, I think I know what they do," or something looks like what we're doing in Ghana, what we're doing in Africa. So I prefer to, for me, because I'll just confuse myself a lot. I'll start be doing things, and then now I'll be telling them things that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I look at this, is maybe a contradictory or like a slightly contradictory part. When I hear some brethren from the Caribbean, right, playing reggae like Vaughn Midnight, right,
Akabeka.
For me, Akabeka, for me, in terms of like patois, for instance, right, it's coming out. They're not acting it. It's not an external language they want to learn. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
It's how they speak to their mama and their father and their mother and their brothers and their sisters. They don't think, they don't go, you know what I mean? Like how we speak. You make a tree, or we go speak the pigeon, right? We don't intentionally try to, this is exciting, let me try to speak. You know what I mean? It's just organically you grow with it. And then I can see how a certain sense of continuity go there. Even in Ghana, right? We go argue, say there be the thing we draw some of us to reggae be the continuities where we see, like there be things in the reggae rhythms and even the drumming and thing where we did sense things with it from the continent. Like I was drawn to reggae, Rastafari, primarily because I saw it as an African thing where they happen there.
That's the point.
See what I mean?
That's the point.
For
because personally, I feel like there's a connection between even the pidgin and the patois, right?
Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
And even the patois has some words that are very intrinsically tree. Straight up. They have words like poto poto. You and I know poto poto. Not from the patois angle, but from what we know poto poto to be. And that's the same exact meaning. You know.
Absolutely.
So that's why I feel like there's a connection there. And also even in terms of the experiences, right? Like if you look if you hear some of the messaging in the Jamaican reggae music, personally, also, that's what actually drew me to reggae music, because the experience, if you listen to Culture, the kind of things he's talking about is the same experiences we're having in Ghana, not true?
I love that. Very. I love how you bring up Culture, because when you say growing up, right, I didn't finish listening to people that influenced me. Joseph Hill Culture, major influence me musically. Major, you know. Like I'm glad you brought that, and I felt that way when I heard someone like Joseph Hill. You know, the problem with listing names is that we can go around the world with that. Man. But what you're saying about patois is so true. That's how I felt about patois, and that's how I feel about patois too, right? But this is how I see it. Okay, so me, I grew up in we are Akan people, right? Okay. If man go hang with another Akan people, right? Whatever, you know, Fanti people, and they just speak. I go fit speak, and I go fit see all the similarities between the way Mali people just speak and theirs, right? I fit understand and everything, and I go fit speak it. Man go live Cape Coast small for secondary school, right? Man, we go to communicate, but for me to say, oh, because of that, no, right? I go fit stand with it. Maybe you can. You see, you I know say you got some capabilities. I know about that. You know, there's some people where they do, you know, they have the facility, right? But I know say I can only take it so far. If I start to say, oh yeah, you know, because I've lived in Cape Coast for a while, I can, and I understand what you're saying, and I can speak with them.
I see what you mean.
This is my joint. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see
so
what
the same way I approach the patois thing, you know, I have serious limitations. If I say, you know what I mean? If I'm going to say, oh yeah, you know, because of the similarities, the African
but Rasta, you realize also that not all reggae music, even played by Jamaicans, is in patois. If you check the sounds of Steel Pulse, for instance, they are not particularly speaking patois too much like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the patois part is one dimension. Okay. So that's the vocal, you know, part which that's particular to Jamaica, right? And okay, so now we can talk about the rhythm, right? Like the scat, right? Love the scat, right? Love it like crazy. There's African music that has the skank in another way that maybe they use other instruments, not guitar. I've heard xylo music from northern Ghana, where they do the bum 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 or bum 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 bum, whatever, you know. So it's a thing where we have already, right? And of course, when you study the history of reggae, people have different ways to explain how the skunk came about, right? But so we can connect to that, right? Then of course we can talk about the one drop, you know, or the Nyabingi heartbeat, right? And all these are all things with the African music inside, right? Of course, the narrative behind explaining those things too can be very interesting. You know, people have all sorts of stories where they tell about some of them are universes apart, right? So those steps. So what I'm trying to stay away from is tapping into something I don't really know. For sure. Okay. The only thing I know is how I'm living, for sure.
And I guess I do. And I guess that kind of explains your new music, right? Your music right now. And I don't think anybody can fault you or take you or try to suggest in the remotest, you know, example that your music kind of duplicates anything, and I'm about to prove that right now. So people, yes. All right. So before we go on though,
can I say something real quick?
Yeah, real quick. Yeah, too.
Can I say something real quick? Go through. Okay. So reggae skank, right? I listened to reggae rhythm guitarist from Jamaica, skank. And you listen to it and you're like, this skank is a particular skank.
Yeah.
Versus someone who is not born in that culture, grown in that culture.
Yeah.
This is a difficult one to say, but I'm putting it out there. You can hear it a different way. If you listen closely, it's a particular way. This is the way you speak. If someone way come learn, they try to say the things. Someone we know will be born in that culture, start to say that there's a likelihood that it could be a little bit removed from that because it's not organic to them. That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Now, that does not mean that the oil panel in here or, it's not valid. See, that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't dismiss someone from the African continent. I wouldn't dismiss anyone else way to play reggae. I won't, but personally, I'd rather leave it to them. They feel okay doing that, let them go ahead. You know what I mean? And I'll love it. But I can't put myself there and, it's almost like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know, say, art is a chance to say what I really wanted to say.
I understand.
Really
I understand.
Yeah.
But let me push it a little further though, since you brought this angle to it, because there's also a commercial aspect to it. And for me, it looks as if that whole movement against other people or other nationalities, let me put it that way, playing reggae is more commercial than anything else, to be very honest with you.
Oh, that angle. Okay,
yes.
Yeah.
And my head rests on that is that if we have a whole movement of, say, repatriation, which is a vital aspect of the Rastafari livity and consciousness, and we have this, we're pushing hard for a place for the displaced brethren and sistren back to Africa, and we are ready to share the land back with them, and they can share an art form with us. That sends my head spinning. What's your take on that?
I think I'll stay out of that. I totally agree. And then I'll bring up you've heard stories about how people have said, well, when you say commercial, what I'm thinking of is like, I've heard is that, okay, if you're going to play reggae, where's the royalties? They're not saying, don't do it. Pay us for doing it. Let some of the money come to us, because reggae is out of the bag right now. Italians are playing reggae, Japanese are playing reggae, right? You can't stop it. So I was here, what I've been hearing, what I read and all of that is why other people benefiting from it commercially and Jamaicans are suffering. So I think maybe if the demand is not out there like that, what I'm hearing is like, oh yeah, if you're benefiting from it, let us benefit from it too, right? It's different than don't play it at all, which is something that would not happen. People are going to play it anyway, right? Now, I've heard an argument from Ghana too, where they say something like, well, I think crop pattern or kente being used outside of Ghana, for to pay something to Ghana for using it. Yeah. I've heard that argument. I don't know if you've heard that before.
I've heard that.
Yes, and it's a similar thing. And I see how the premise for you is questionable, right? And that's how I feel about it. People are going to do it anyway. Right now we're talking about, you see, I don't like talking about myself. I say I talk about myself like 20 times already. Yeah, personally, I'll stay away from it because I don't know what it is.
I hear you. On
that level. All I know is Slushy. Rastafari.
Selassie.
You know what I mean?
Selassie. Yes, but we're not about to go off topic of you, because there's still a lot to unpack from you, because you as a person, as a person, still is an example of a lot of good things. A lot of things that people should be learning to do. So
we'll tap into it. I don't mind coming back and asking you more specific questions.
All right.
But I want us to, but yeah, with this, I'm just trying to say this to say that, to make that point, what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
So you mentioned going to secondary school in Cape Coast. You are a Kwabotre boy, right?
I know how you put it. Yeah. Colonial still, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess Kwabuche is, at
Colonial.
least. Is it colonial? I thought I thought it was a fancy word or fancy name or something.
No. I'm talking about the institution.
Okay. Well, I mean,
right?
Hey,
all of them, all the schools, right? All educational systems.
Yeah, but at least one good thing about Fancy Pim is that it has a fancy name, Fancy Pim versus say Saint something.
I totally agree, but I can have a full Ghanaian name and wear Ghanaian clothes and eat my food with my hands and speak only Chi and when you listen to my concepts, they're just Oyibo concepts dressed in African clothes. We've seen too much of that historically, right? I mean, someone can be Afrocentric as hell, and you listen to all their concepts are just Greco-Roman concepts dressed in African clothes, right?
Yeah.
So that's. But I mean, I'm not putting down FANSMA was a great institution, but if I'm going to say that for FANSMA, I might as well say that for Achimota, which we all did blast for the problems, the recent problems with the dreadlocks brethren.
Yes,
excellence. Yeah, it's the same colonial.
Oh, you had the update on that though. Do you know the latest on that issue?
That by the brother scoring excellence.
Excellent, like straight 8A.
Yeah, man saw an image of his records,
Yeah.
And I think the point over here, for me, that's what I'm saying. We can fault Achimota all the way, right? But it's we can talk about that across the board. Well, elite institutions, right? These are the great schools in Ghana, some colonial brethren.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And not to fault anyone or anything, but that's the thing. And the thing we have to do is how do we like slice through it, get past it, versus sit down and say, oh man, this is, this is.
It is what it is.
So I'm so proud of this. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, man. I know people used to call me, might think I'm just being a traitor, but I know I never really belonged when I was in that school, man. I was always in trouble, man. I gotta tell you.
For what?
Never really worked for me, to be honest with you.
I see.
I love my brethren over there. I mean, I had excellent brethren, still do. Man love the setting, man love Cape Coast, man love the weather, man love the herb, the whole, but the whole thing was a rebellion thing we did deal with over there.
I see.
It wasn't like, oh man, I love this institution. For me, it was never like that. It didn't bring the institution never really, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I
Interesting.
Was Rastafari, you know what I mean?
Interesting.
So it was we're going
Musically though, did you pick up any influences while you were there? Like those were the days of the pop chain and all of that.
Actually, yeah, it was in the FANSPIM that, for instance, we had our first band, right? We were like Form 2. Or something from 3, and we had our first band, and actually inspiration came from brethren who were ahead of us. This is for me to talk about one brethren I remember called Saji Pepe back then, I think he was a guitarist, and I think we went to the same house. They had a band and they were playing. I think he was years ahead of us, I think I was in Form 1 or something. We had a Saturday night and entertainment sessions, and Brethren was up there. Their band, they were playing. I remember they were playing a Kiki Jan song, right? I'm doing my thing, the intro's like guitar strumming like that, And I was like, this is it, everybody getting down like that, Of course, we watch music on TV, bands playing on TV and all that, but this was like something very nitty, and I was like, love that, and other influences. And then we set up our own band when we got to Form 2 or Form 3, I think, and we started doing our own thing too, Yeah, we're able to have bands on campus. That was a good thing over there,
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to do this. I'm going to drop one song because so far I'm sure everybody listening to me is like, yeah, they're talking about the music and what are they talking about? So
and I hope we can talk about takes, what does music mean to each other too? You know what I mean? Because we have this unquestioned understanding of music, but what does it really mean to us? I'm not saying what does music mean, because I can't pretend to define music for anyone, right? But what does music mean to us, to you, to me? You know, we can talk about. I hope we can talk.
So that's
about
going to be my next
too,
question to you after this one.
Thanks.
You call
Give
proxy.
Thanks.
We'll be right back.
Give thanks. All right.
All right, my bad. This one is actually called a Jenyame. This one is called a Jenyame.
How you remember how you tell yourself that liberation. A Jenyame. Down my way. Who the driver? Who the rider? Even peace and love could beef with the world, yeah. And if they took it out on each other, you know something wrong with understanding. Panic, antics, tactics, rebel in self-love. Hooray. Ambition's famous, more of the same. 1600 stories, I get it. You want to belong, memories, nostalgia, childhood assumption. What's in the game? Johnny, headless one, no monarchy was your intellect. As if this girl's intelligence could protect moments of the history that we don't forget. Rastafari fill the people just with fresh connect. Is it starting to make some sense? Unexpected places sing to lossy high. How you remember this year's setbacks, liberation. How you tell yourself the comeback situation.
Yes. 7 Fireside. This one he calls a Jenyame.
Transmitting.
Now you are beginning to understand what I was talking about, don't you? And one thing that I've noticed from 7 Fireside, way back, even before I came to know him personally, is that his music is very poetic, and not just poetic, but also carries esoteric is the word I'm looking for. So we're going to be learning more about that. But before that, he raised the question about what does music mean to people. Let's start from you, 7. What does music mean to you?
Okay. First of all, I want to tell myself, what does music not mean to me? Or what I want music not to mean to me? What do I turn my back on? Because I see the idea of music that we've learned is highly problematic. I was just talking about a thing about coming back from the weekend at the hometown or another countryside place, another village or something, and then go to see the music class and you're disoriented. Or at least you start to trivialize or minimize the quality of the music where you hear for the countryside, right? For the village or the hometown, right?
Yeah.
So that merely tells me that we have a conflict here. That's a different understanding of music, right? It doesn't mean that there are no universals. They're universals, right? Where there's rhythm, there's harmony, there are notes, so all those universals stay there, right? In terms of the elements, right? And even some of the basic devices we go use things, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of what is music doing for people? What does it stand for? Back to the point I was making earlier, it comes from how you're living organically, right? If let's say I go buy some ganja from my venom, right?
Yeah.
Where I cross the street, come where police catch me, where they beat me well, right? slap me and all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I come over, my face swell small, where they ask me for house, they ask me say what you happy, where they told us nothing. That is particular to me, right? And off of that, I'm going to create this music, right?
Yeah.
And
can I give you a line out of that? Can I give you a line? Can I give you a line of a song that comes to my mind from that experience you just said? Every day is the art of living for a cause.
Yes, for Bridget.
Yes.
Yes,
right.
Bridget.
Skip over a high in Ambrosia. Yo, listen, man. Yo, you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you mean. Yes. I think it's a collective experience. We can identify other people who go through similar things.
Yeah.
But to speak truly to it, it's that individual. It's what you're going through as a person, right? Mm-hmm. I think if you speak truly to it, then it can resonate with the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's what I'm saying. There are particular things that I think we can find a universal. I'm more interested in finding a universal in the particular than in trying to find a universal in that vague external universal, right? So personally, I like to turn my back on received ideas of music. I do. You know what I mean? I really do. I want to think of music more as something that is undefined. It has very little. It has nothing to do with genre in its essence. It's just expressed through genre, and then humans, we just kind of make it more manageable. For certain purposes, we name it a certain way, and we characterize certain things a certain way. And for some of us, if you studied a lot of musicians, I know you have, you realize there's some musicians who are not bound to genre at all throughout history. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And I find that quite compelling. I found more compelling than when someone says, "Yeah, this is the thing." At least I'm speaking as an individual now. This is the genre I'm riding with, and you stick with it all. Especially for me, I didn't create the genre I'm buying into. We used to play reggae, right? I used to like. We're talking about the past. It was a reggae thing for me too, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I always had these second thoughts about it, like, do I really know this thing? And this is what I'll digress real quick. You see, Roots Sanabo, man.
Mm-hmm.
Salute Sami no question, man.
Yes.
Akola Savage,
yes.
And other brethren that work with them, Kologo, and people. But I'm thinking of the way they approach the reggae thing in a very concrete way. A lot of us do that thing where we're like, okay, we're African, and so we're going to play the African reggae thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for me, a very pristine example of what can be done philosophically with this kind of question is what Roots and Apple showed us. Like straight up, they said Sun Life music or something.
Yeah.
I think that's what Sami called it, right?
Yeah.
I've been working on some sound, like a lot of times when I'm working on patterns, sometimes I think of people like Akola Savage, He go start to do something. I remember some patterns like that he'd be playing. I'd be like, wow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they going somewhere with how the rhythms of how we live for Ghana.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying?
That's right.
And some go do those things they do,
KENTE BAND reggae and all of that.
Yeah. So they're referencing reggae and they're obviously influenced by that. And Sami has a very encyclopedic understanding of music and reggae. Taught us a lot, taught me personally a lot. And I know he was teaching some of the brethren I was working with a lot. Just speak. We used to go to his house a lot. He gave us a chance.
My first studio experience was in his studio. Way back
recording, giving us a chance to record, talking to us, spending time with us. Phenomenal brother. Mentor in many. I thought that's a cool way to put it, but that word doesn't even do justice. So this man have a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I like the way I see him as a genius right there.
Yeah.
Steps away from the beaten track, so to speak, and starts to bring out this thing, his inner voice, interesting take on it. So those are the possibilities right there, So personally, those are the things that will make me wonder if I feel comfortable with the idea that, reggae, you're a reggae artist. It never sat well with me. Though I enjoyed reggae. Initially I didn't even question it, right? But then along the way, the songs that come to you to play, the song hits you and you know that it doesn't hit me in that form. But when we started to play it, then we started to say, oh yeah, then it's got to have this, it's got to have this. But maybe when you were hearing it, you're hearing a different sound, a drum pattern. Maybe when you were hearing it, you were hearing other elements. Why don't we bring that out? For me, I'll be like, why don't I, even if it's vague, even if it fails, because personally I like doing things that I'm not sure it's going to work. You understand? Versus things that I know that's going to work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And take that risk and try to make it work. Rather, you know what I'm saying? Now, genres are already figured out for us already. You know what I mean? I'm repeating it already, right? So, it's like the format already. If you have these elements in the soup, that's it. Hey, we enjoy this for food, school. You know where things land, right?
Yeah.
That's one approach. Personally, I like to get into the thing, and it's like I don't know where this is going on, and it's most likely not gonna work. It could work, and it could not work. And how do we work it out from there? So that's when we need Most High to guide us.
Every time.
Beyond our powers.
Every time.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
So there's this question that I'm getting messaging to ask you. And I don't think people will ever forgive me if I do such an interview without going into that area. KENTE Band. And I don't know how comfortable you feel talking about KENTE Band.
I want to be able to deal with that, but the problem is that I hope my answers work. If they don't work, please keep me on it. Just keep asking. You know what I mean? I might give an answer and it might sound evasive or not clear enough.
Okay.
And then just keep me on it. You can repeat the question another way.
All right. Okay. So we'll see how it goes. How did you get into KENTE Band? I know you were a founding member. How did the whole thing start?
Okay. So personally, when people say founding member and all that, I get it, but I'll prefer to think about it this way. If you call me a founding member, then I want to call Quage a founding member. I want to call Joe Mentz a founding member. I want to call Bugger a founding member as well. If you're going to call me a founding member. Of course, in terms of linear time, some of us got together before they came into the picture, right? But I think that it's important for me to think like that based on my interactions with them and the way they saw the project, right? So here, it looks like I'm not being very rational with someone to say, oh yeah, you were the guys that were there at the beginning. But I'd rather think of it like this. So I think this is how it went for me. I'm at home. We've been doing some work together. I did some work with Herbert Bulle, Herbie, Bina. We're living on the Legon campus. Daniel Kessie. We did some work for a while, and then we linked. We got to go to a studio to go record, and we met with Sav, right? Sabo. He was a drummer then. I think Kissy told us he knew a drummer was great. And Sabo, phenomenal drummer, wonderful. And not just drummer, Sabo.
Yeah,
musical,
I know him more for guitar than drums, though. But
lovely brother.
Yeah, very musical brethren.
Musically, off the chain, bro. Very resourceful. But back then, I just knew him. We just met and drum. I just loved the brother, still do. And so we went to studio recording, right? So we done this work, and I think Freddie heard it. Freddie Van Dyke heard it, and so I think something had Bina left the country. He went to Liberia, and I think something happened, and we were not playing around that time. And Freddie comes over and says, "Hey man, I want us to get together and play and work with something. Form a band or something." And I was like, "Cool, man, let's do it." Right? I knew Freddie from Fun Spin, and so we went to link with I think Bina was back in town. But I'd returned from Liberia then. They went to live there for some years, I guess, his family, and they were back. So I don't remember if we go with Bina or Sabo first, but I think we went to link with Sabo. I remember we linked with Sabo and we talking about it, and we go with Bina too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's almost like a continuation with the people we knew, right?
Mm-hmm.
Herbie Bully, I think I left Ghana too. I think he had moved to England around that time. Yes. So we got together, and that's how it started, right? So on that level, we can say founding members, right?
Mm.
But I would rather say, okay, Freddie came up with the idea of Kente. Right? I don't remember initially if we were calling Kente. I remember it was later we were playing, and then he came up with the name Kente. I think if you had asked me for a name, I probably would have said something that would have been like, man, what does this mean? But I think later we're like, what's the name? And then I think he came up with that. So we could put it that way. You know what I'm saying? But in terms of original founding members, we're trying to be rational about it that way. But in terms of substance, I'll think of Joe Mens real quick. I'll think of Quage real quick, because Joe Mens was there. Some studio to record, and what he brought to it for me, it was no before and after. I don't know if he played with us immediately, but the energy Joe is a very spiritual person, and very resourceful, and very for me everything. So I don't like to separate. Well, I got so much from him in terms of nourishment. You know what I mean? And I don't want to break that put something between me and him, and then Quage too. And the reason I bring this up is this, and I understand when people say, but we are the ones that, we are the ones that, but I always want to think of it this way, without them, I don't know if it would be like what it was, right? I spoke to both of them like years later, and they have a problem with that. You see what I'm saying? In terms of the implications, maybe not the language itself, but the implications of the language. They become almost like secondary, elements of the entity. You know what I mean? And if they're secondary, and actually I felt this way because I'm just going to put this out there. I felt this way. This is the type of energy that was in the bank at one point, but very early I sensed that, and just straight up, I want to tell you this, it made me lose interest very early. You know what I mean? When I noticed that there was that. Not just that particular thing, but that was an instance, But not to take away from it, was a great setup, wonderful, lovely brethren, everything, And my view was this: the way I was back to these things, idiosyncrasies, whatever. Now, everything is okay until somebody opens his mouth, right? Let's say people are happy doing something, right?
Yep.
And then I was telling Freddie this, I think right after we spoke on your show the other day, I think the following day or so, I called him. I was like, man, look, man, everybody's happy doing their thing, right? Everybody's happy doing, and then I come and I open my mouth and I ruin the party. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like this guy's complaining too much. This guy we're okay. Everybody's happy doing this. And this guy comes and says all these, messes it up. I don't want to be that person. If you're happy doing what you're doing, just do it. So many times I was like, man, I'm out, but then it seemed as if that was ruining things, so it would be like, am I just like doing what I want to do at the expense of the group, or am I, are we working as family? Because we got to learn to cooperate with each other, right? And so I'll be like, okay, forget about that. Let's just do our best. But for me, for almost all the time, it was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And you got to do things that you're invested in. You feel totally invested in, right?
It didn't seem like that to a lot of people sitting outside and looking in. It did not seem like that at all.
Because Farah, Slushy do things. Like for me, I was thinking of things like unity. African unity is like a cliche concept, right?
Yeah.
Black people should be able to work together. We're working for the same cause, things like that, right? But for me, certain things that were, because of the things that were happening, we tried to see how we could work it out, and I even want to fault myself in maybe the way I would do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would maybe create more misunderstanding, because later I heard things like, oh yeah, this guy wanted everybody to Rasta.
I was going to come to that. Because
stuff like that. I want everybody to be a certain way. I don't want anybody to tell me how to be. Why would I want someone to be?
So I heard it. What I heard along those lines, but slightly differently worded. I.e., you had issues with the messaging in the music as a band, right? You wanted to focus more on Selassie and music. I mean, the message in the music had to reflect more of Rastafari livity than anything else. Whereas some of the other songs that the others wrote did not necessarily do as much justice to that idea as you expected. Is that what it is?
See, I can see now you're pinning it to like single reasons, right? But this will be maybe an aspect of the larger thing I'm trying to.
It really wasn't just. It's. I mean, there are other things that people, reggae historians, let me put it that way, have ascribed to how KENTE Band split up, so to speak, right? But this is just one of them. We'll get to the others.
That could be a factor. I mean, I could see that. Obviously that would cross my mind, but that wouldn't be the underlying factor, right? So for me, which might be wrong, it would be like if we're saying that. First of all, the only reason I started playing reggae, the reason I became a Rasta person, I started seeing life as a Rasta person, right? It's King Selassie, right?
Yes.
The reason I was drawn to reggae is King Selassie, really. As much as I love the
melody and the rhythms and everything,
what kept me coming to it was Selassie.
Yes.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And and I don't expect everybody to see it my way, really, rationally speaking. But if someone is saying, let's do this together, right? I'm assuming that they know where I'm coming from. Right?
Yeah.
But if we're dealing and you start to act like, oh yeah, it's just one aspect of what we're doing, of course I'm gonna lose interest in this. I think like you came to me because this is what it is for me. This is what it is. Maybe wrong premise for me, right? For me to assume that, because not everyone is gonna see it the same way. Right, and after a point, it becomes almost superfluous because, okay, if the Brethren is singing, Freddie's writing wonderful songs about Black people. Freddie writes wonderful songs too, right? The Black situation, things that are the same thing basically, right? In terms of substance, right? And I think I hear Freddie hailing Selassie too. I think. Right? I'm sure he does. I've heard him do that. He is a Rastaman.
No question.
So it's not like, oh no, right? But what I'm thinking is, what do people see when people turn our way? Right? When people start looking at us or where I stand. When you're listening to us. What are they hearing? What are they seeing? That's all I'm worried about. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're representing something. So if what you want to represent is what you're going to project, what you're going to, people are going to see what you represent, right? When people listen to all of this, what are they going to walk away with? You want them to remember you as an interesting a great musician, and great African musician, a great reggae musician. That's fine. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
That's wonderful. But I'm not interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, I get
and that's
you.
where I become a problem.
I get you. So the other aspect,
you know what?
Go through. Finish your thought, and then I'll come in with the next.
I'm just saying that. Yeah, for some people that'll be fine. If a matter of fact, that was one counter argument I was getting in the group. They're like, it doesn't matter, just do your thing, just do your Rasta thing, and then let's all. Remember we're talking the other day. It was like, diversity within whatever, unity or something like that. Yeah. Cool, I understand that, but hey, then you can have that. Just do that, and I can enjoy what you're doing from a distance.
From a distance, all right.
Yeah. Okay,
but like I was saying a short while ago, KENTE Band was such an iconic band. Everybody that loved reggae, that aspired to play reggae in Ghana, wanted to be where KENTE Band was at, right? Especially when you got to tour outside the country. Let me tell you this, and I've said this story way too many times on this show. Maybe people are getting fed up with this story that I keep telling, But when you came to play at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Matter of fact, those times it wasn't called Kwame Nkrumah Science; it was called just University of Science and Technology back in the day. And me and two brethren of mine, who we had a little unit, We love to call ourselves a band, but we didn't have any instruments or anything like that. We couldn't even play no instruments at the time. So all three of us were vocalists, and we wrote music and did our thing on recorded dubs and things like that. Chris Levi, Dennis Buddha of blessed memory, was one such brother. And the other brother is called G, also of blessed memory. But three of us were a unit. And then when we heard KENTE Band was coming to town, we're like, yo, listen, we definitely have to make this concert. Because it was like, oh, wow, KENTE Band is coming to town. But we didn't even have the money to, bus ourselves to USD to go check the show out, right? And I used to live in Ishaya, so where they would come for rehearsals and stuff like that. So getting ourselves from Ishaya, so all the way to USD was a big deal. We didn't have the money. So what we did is we decided to trek it,
I see.
And Kumasi, so Ishaya to UST. That's like one end of the city to the next. It's very far. But we said, okay, this show starts at I think 8 p.m. or something like that. Why don't we start out like 3 p.m. so we'll be there on time? And we did. We walked all the way from Ishaya to UST to catch KENTE Band. And guess what? Of course, we don't have money to pay for the passage. How would we have money for gate fee? We did not.
How did you get it?
So we just stood outside and cut like a sneak peek through a little crack in the wall type thing. It wasn't a crack in the wall. It was just like, it was like glass walls. Part of the Great Hall, I think it was glass, and there were curtains, right? And there was a little part where you could see part of the band, not the whole entire thing. So we took turns peeping through that, and then the icing on the cake is that after the show, we got to speak with you and Freddie, and I think it was Boge also. We got to speak with a couple members of the band. That was actually the first time I met you. Of course, you will not remember that, but I do, under the circumstances.
I think I do, but I remember you even before then. I'll tell you something I remember. I think before then I'd seen you without you knowing. I've never told you this.
I see.
But I'll tell you. You had performed on the campus before, right?
Yeah, and we used to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you about that. Finish this point.
Well, so we...
And you struck me as a very... you struck me as seeing you on stage really had an impact on me.
I see.
Yeah. We will talk about that. So
we will.
So I think
sometime.
when we met that day, it was just a follow through for me. It was the first time I was actually talking to you.
I see. I see. Yeah, but that's the backstory to meeting that day. It was like holy trekking, and of course we had to trek back after the show.
Wow.
So yeah. But that's how big KENTE Band was to some of us, right? Mm-hmm. So when it got to that point where you had the German tour and you came back, and then we heard that you were leaving the band. It was a heavy blow for a lot of us, to be honest with you. Except to say that also started my close association with you, because we then got to work on the project with Shirin and all of that.
Yes, Shirin, yes.
That kind of eased it up for me a little bit. That was kind of like comfort for me, Yeah, personally, I don't know about others, but for me that was like a little soothing. That okay, even if I don't get to hear you on KENTE Band, I'm still getting to hear you and actually work with you, and not just work with you, also hang out.
Doing so, look at you, you're flipping a thing on me. Look at what you were doing back then. You were playing bass and singing.
I remember all those days rehearsing in your room over there in Medina, all the ganja that got burned, Boomba and the sister and all of that.
The sisters, yes.
Phenomenal time, man. I would not exchange that for nothing at all. But
same here.
The thing is, though, after the German tour, which most of us saw as a successful tour, you followed that up with an album and all of that. Then you decided to leave the band. What was the final straw? Because you already said that it was these things that you mentioned earlier were already happening. But then all of a sudden, after a successful tour, then you decide to leave. What happened?
Like I was saying earlier on, the level of okay, so before that we had another we worked with another project. We had our first project with I forgot the name of the label. There's a white guy, Rob, great guy. We were working with him, right? We had a first album working with him, right? And same thing happened while we're working with him. It wasn't like this was something new, right? Like I was telling you, I wish I could find a quote, a biblical quote, maybe, but those were biblically inclined. Or a canned proverb that says, or something that says that, look, when you're living in a house and there's turmoil in it, right?
Yeah.
What you want to do? You want to get out of the house. For me. Now, other people in the house may not see that turmoil, or they think they can manage it, right? For me, I couldn't see that. I couldn't see me being able to live with that. So the same thing happened when we were working on the same project. I dipped out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it wasn't like, oh yeah, this is the first time. I mean, the things. If I told you some of the things, you'd be like, man, this guy, you're crazy, man. He's smoked too much weed, man. Because, the feeling was always like, the only thing that kept me going, honestly, was we're doing celestial work. Like, the lyrics I'm singing is what's keeping me there. Like, okay, we've written a song and I can focus on those lyrics. Because outside of that, they my interactions with the brethren, too, like moments with the brethren one-on-one, we're brethren, we're together. But to think about it on that other level, it was always like, nah, man, I don't want to do this. Serious. I'm just being honest with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now that's not the brethren's fault at all. I'm not blaming anyone. Everyone is okay. But it's like you're mixing something that's not supposed to be that way. Now,
water and oil.
I understand you when you say this is what you got from it, right? I understand people when they say this is what we're getting from it. So why would you mess it up for us? Basically, but I wasn't seeing it that way. And if I had stayed, maybe I'll be creating more problems for the people in the group. Because I know that I was creating problems. I was creating for people. It was like I was making things difficult for them.
All right. So some of the other things that I'm just putting everything that all the reasons that I'm, like I put it, the reggae historians, so to speak. Ghana reggae historians, that is, have put out. And I'm just running them by you. Two of the other things I think are connected, so I'll just put them together, and then we'll move on from that subject.
Cool. We could come back to it.
Okay, all right. As and when they need be, of course. All right. Okay. But then the thing is that so some of the other things we heard was that while you were in Germany, you had a rough time with things like your food, your livity, right? Because you, of course, Rastaman, Italist, very particular about what you eat, what you put in your body, all of that. And then the whole band is not on the same tangent. So it became a thing where you kind of had to fend for yourself on that level. Food as just one example, right?
Wait. What did you hear about that? That's interesting. Like what? Fend for myself in what way? Like was it like
seen
food for the band.
Yeah, something along those lines. Like even when it came to catering for the band. Well, I mean, not that, but for instance, say everybody's been paid or whatever, stipends given out, whatever, and then food. You have to obviously buy food, right? But then there's this thing where the rest of the band can easily find something like food, whereas you had to go the extra length to find your food. And
that's a straight out lie, man. I don't remember that was easy for me to get. Where, in Germany or in Ghana?
In Germany.
Oh, no, it was too easy.
Okay.
Too easy to get food.
All right, so we put that to rest.
People be making up stuff.
We put that to rest. The other thing was that some say that, say Freddie, for instance, had too much say on what goes on the album, right? Like, say the album is put out and then he has like X amount of songs and you only have a couple songs on the album. And people feel like you felt like you had a lot more to say than what you had the conduit or the opening to say. So you felt like leaving the band will give you the opportunity to say what you have to say, right? Kind of like the Peter Touch Bob Marley situation, whereby they felt like, Peter is like, you know what? Yeah, like Chris Blackwell is putting us all in a corner and Bob is writing all the songs. Whereas I have a lot of things to say as well, Was that something that was part of the issue?
Okay, so I would see like this. For me, it makes sense that Freddie will write a lot of songs. I'm writing a lot of songs too, right? It's maybe we can say a yes and a no. Back to the question of what are people seeing when they turn in our direction. If the songs we're projecting, or I hate to use the word image, right? If what we're projecting, people look in that direction, they see Celeste, then it don't matter who's doing what. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. That was my thing in terms of that. In terms of numbers, maybe it would come up. I mean, there was a moment, I think, on the second album where that feeling came up. Like, okay, look, what's going on here? But I just realized that it came with all these things we're talking about. There was a certain way people saw, the team saw certain things, right? And if I was going to, it looked like if I was, let's remember also that Sabo was writing a lot of songs, right? It's not just me. There was a scenario too where I know Bugger was writing lovely songs too. I think even prior to that project, he had written some song. I remember me singing a song. Yeah, he wrote Sound Waves, which was a song we used to play. You know Sound Waves, right? You heard Sound Waves blowing my brain. Yeah. And
Bugger wrote that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Bugger, great songwriter too. There was a scenario where it wasn't like, let me find a way to put it. He wasn't happy with certain things about, like what's happening with song selection, right? Right there for me is like, here we have misplaced expectations here, right? If we're saying, yeah, we're a group, and then this is what we do, and then I put some forward, and I'm gonna have a sense like, no, we can't have this because this is what this is really about. And it means like something is not very clear about what this is about, right? Someone should understand clearly that, there's no place for this, or it's not necessary for me to try to push a song, or but that was not the notion. It was like, we're all doing these things, right? So right there, that's one thing that will bring me back to the idea that okay, what is it about? If it's Rastafari, right? I think we'll be a little more like, okay, like when I was working with you, right? It was Rastafari, right?
Yeah.
And there was nothing about how many songs
you
could sing. or play.
Nah.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
We're not looking at numbers. So those are some of the things I'm thinking about. So on a certain level, we could say, yeah, it looked like that. But really the real thing is that what are people seeing when they turn in our direction? What are people hearing when they turn in our direction? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And that does not mean that whatever was happening was not good. It was great. It was excellent for a particular purpose.
Mm.
And I don't want to be part of that purpose.
Mm. All right.
You see what I mean?
That's
not to dismiss it and say it's bad. I could benefit from that purpose too myself. Mm-hmm. But it's just like me listening to Kojo Entry, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect you to hear Hail Selassie.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. All right.
When I turn to Roots and Abo, I'm hearing Hailing Selassie from there, straight.
Mm-hmm.
I can't expect what I'm hearing from Roots and Abo from Kojo Entry.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if it's mixed like that, you know, it's like, what are we looking at over here? Yeah, then really I'll say, then let them have it. You know what I mean?
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's try to put more into the rest of the time before.
Okay.
We actually asked permission from producer to go beyond the limit because we can't have an interview like this and push it into a time limit. We have to explore everything, you know. So
give thanks.
Yeah, man. But before we go on, so man like Ras Tanto is listening to us from Sweden, and he says, "Big up, 7 Fireside, large up." He says to big you up for him. You know Tonto, right?
Yes, salute. Yes. Salute the brother for me.
Yeah, man. Tonto, you heard it for yourself.
Yeah.
You heard it for yourself.
Excellent.
All right.
Give thanks. Give thanks, brother.
Yes. All right. So that you play guitar, right? Apart from singing, you also play guitar. I don't know if you play any other instruments. I've seen you play guitar, phenomenal playing, you know, and it's been a while.
You caught me
so
there. You remember when we used to play, right? One day I was working with you on a project. We're working on a number of songs. I'm just trying to tell you how I don't know what you, and you were playing, and you were like, "Man, Seven, can you play some other progression? Something different." I'm like, "Man, I need to work harder on this thing, you know." But yeah, obviously, you know, we just learning, right? We learn, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that moment, but it helped me a lot, you know, because I think what was happening was I'll hear the pattern, it sounds a certain way, and then I'll go to this set formula. And I'll try to put it behind what you're doing. It works.
Esoteric. That's what I'm saying. Your music is simply esoteric. You know,
no,
like
I'm talking about. I'll play something to your bass and vocals.
Okay.
Right, and you're hearing certain things you're playing, and you know, it just you help me get into what you were doing a little better by saying that. So when you say phenomenal, it was like it's always a work in progress. Right?
I mean, yeah, that's I know you. Yeah, I know how you do. You know, you always want to share the credit and everything. That's all right.
Oh, look how you're taking the thing, Reggie. I'm telling you what happened.
That's all right. But yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I hear you saying things like, you know, playing bass and singing and all that. It's something that started with Shirin Shirinshi, you know.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
And can I say something real quick about what I don't? We're talking about first interaction with you.
Mm-hmm.
I was a band on campus wrote a song and they wanted me to sing it for them. You know, what was the guy's name? I think Giddy. You know, they had a song. You know, I think it was a ganja song. You know, very interesting, very lovely song. You know, interesting. Black OG, I forgot his first name. He was a part of that band, and they had a reggae song, and they invited me to come sing that with them. And that night, you and some brethren performed, right? So I'm sitting just before we went on stage. I think your setup were on stage. Yeah.
I remember that the Commonwealth Hall week.
The long coat, yeah.
Yes.
You just struck me as, man, this, you know what I mean? I was like, yeah, you know, I was grooving to what you guys were doing. I was like really into it, you know?
Yeah.
And then I didn't get to meet you that day, you know, when you were done, we went up and did that one.
Yeah, with Joe Mance and all of that. I remember that. I remember
this
that.
Was not even Joe Mance. This was not Kente. This was on campus. I was with, either I was
on
with
Legon campus? or UST?
Tech Campus.
Oh, Tech Campus.
This
okay.
Is before
okay.
I met you in person.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, maybe you don't remember that. So
but I thought you were talking about Legon Campus because I remember.
No. I was talking about. That's why I used to ask you. Were you performing on Tech Campus?
Yeah. We used to.
Yeah. So I'm saying that I met you. That's where I saw you before we met in person.
I see.
On Tech Campus. Yeah.
I see.
I think Ben Charlie was playing bass then with us.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, but we'll talk. Yeah.
Definitely. All right. So you since leaving KENTE though, you have still stuck to the music, right? You have been I would say you found more room for expression, if that's the right way to put it. But your music keeps going on, and your music has found, like I said in the intro, a new level where I personally can't say this is reggae. I can't, but I still feel the reggae in there, right?
Absolutely. And
Absolutely.
I want people to know that I've benefited from reggae, and I still listen to reggae.
Yeah.
I listen to Midnight I'll listen to Midnight any moment I get a chance. I mean, Vaughn, you know what I mean? I just, you know, so I listen to reggae, you know, I love Chronix, what he does with lyrics, melody, you know, and a lot of younger brothers are doing stuff, you know, serious stuff.
My eldest son, Chronix is his new find, man. Like, Chronix has this song called Black is Beautiful.
Yeah.
And you cannot unplug that boy from that song. Like, every time we get in the car, Daddy put on Black is Beautiful, you know, and now he got his younger siblings latched onto that too. So they can't really quite understand everything Chronix is saying, but when it gets to the chorus, it's like we're having a concert in the car. Everybody's like, they never told us Black is beautiful, you know. It's just amazing. But
great. Yeah, Chronix brings it with heart and brings it with he brings it Rastafari.
Yes.
Love the brethren vibe, you know.
But back to what I was saying about your music though. So apart from that, you also get the African roots from that, right? Like, I'm listening to the guitars, I'm listening to even the drum patterns, you know. And I'm feeling a lot of African rhythmization in there, you know, coinage of that word, man, rhythmization. I don't know if there's a word like that.
Hey, I love that. I love it when you say stuff that
yes.
Actually, that's what I'm interested in when it comes to language and art in general.
Yeah, you know, and I do remember the long discussion we had about language. You know, some other time we'll replicate it for other people to know, you know, what your thought processes are about that, or our thought processes are collectively about you know, that subject.
I love what you're saying.
I love that conversation, man. It's one of the, you know, I keep referring to that for you know, upliftment in so many different areas, you know. But yes, so your music has moved on from there. Tell us about your journey, your musical journey, post KENTE Band, post Sharing.
Okay, what happened after that? That was like, so post sharing, just continue writing. You know, I never think of it the journey so much as just trying to I'm writing. I'm making songs almost every day. I'm always, you know, it's always working on something.
Okay,
always,
so now you live in the United States and you're playing with a band. Because,
we have a band.
And when I listen to the music right now, it sounds like back in the day when we used to record at Panji Studio. Like you feel the ambience. It's live music, right? You remember those days when you had to record the drums separately and record the guitar separately and all of that. I kind of get that feel. You definitely know that this is a band playing together, right? Tell us about the band.
Oh, great. I'm glad you brought that up because, you know, again, you're talking about me as an individual, but hey, that's wrong. Because, you know, I got some brethren I'm working with, man. Drummer from LA. He was born in Los Angeles, lived in Los Angeles, you know, never stepped in Africa, right? But this brother hold me down, man. His name is Jeff. You know, people look out for this brother, man. Just look at what he does. His name is Jeff, you know. Jeffrey Thomas, phenomenal brother, man. So yeah, since I came to Los Angeles, he's one drummer I've played with a lot. So he understands what I'm doing. I think, I don't want to, I know that, like inside, not necessarily on a conscious level, And so he plays patterns, and I'll be like, wow, Yeah. So we try to always talk about the fact that we don't want to think of a genre, but he just expresses the idea is he should just express his African sensibilities. Yeah, so that's Jeff right there. We have a bassy, his name is the bassy Stone, and he's from San Diego, but he's lived in Los Angeles for a good long time. And phenomenal bass. He's played with a lot of reggae bands. He used to play with Bread of Israel. He's played with Ras Michael. You know Ras Michael? Ras
Michael, Sons of Negus.
Yes.
Wow.
He's been a bassy for he's got deep history, so he's handling the bass, very resourceful brother too, Yes, he is very solid brethren. And then with a percussionist, his name is Mo, right? Mohamdo, and he's actually from Sudan, right? Sudan.
Because I heard the djembe in one of the songs, and the djembe, I'm like, hold on there. Yeah. Wicked.
The brother brings he brings percussions to the set, man. He don't bring a few couple things, and just, like he loads it up. You know what I mean? And he gets busy, and he's phenomenal. He plays very, very well, and he brings, he's got the passion is on fire. So yeah, it's the four of us. When we go out, sometimes we play with a hornsman called Rasal. He plays trombone. He does in his thing, and he's got some too. Rasal, very interesting experience with him. I started playing with him maybe 10 years ago. And there's songs that he doesn't necessarily. There moment, in fact, he doesn't rehearse a lot with us, right? So he shows up at the show. You know what I mean?
And just plugs in.
I gotta share this with you. And this brother, the songs that as soon as we start playing the songs, he gets this riff and he plays for those songs. He doesn't know what song we're playing, I think, consciously. Right? If I give him a set list, he plays a lot, he plays with a lot of units, right?
Yeah.
But this brother will play the same riff for that song. Instinctively. I don't know if I'm setting up well enough for you to see how
I get it.
So and he came to Ghana too. He has strong feelings for Ghana, and Africa, So these are the people I'm working with, and I think it's a bless,
Nice.
I salute them all.
Nice.
So those are the brethren,
Nice. Yes.
Yeah, but I've worked with different people along the way, over the years. But now these are the brethren I'm working with, yes.
Nice. And the music is just out of the basket. Seriously. And this new one.
Salute the brethren for that too.
Yes. The whole entire team. So there's this new one that you just released, right? It's called Ride. We will be ending the interview with that. But I want you to tell us about that before we get to play it for the audience.
Okay, so musically, it's what you hear there is what we're doing together. I recorded it one way. Like all the songs, I record them first. In my way. But I bring it out to them, and I don't tell them what I've recorded. So I can send you a version of what I did, and you'll notice that it's not that, right? And then I just do vocals and rhythm while we're playing, and then I start putting the guitar fills and all that. But so everybody comes up with their thing, how they read that, right? And it's very interesting. So drummer doing this thing over there and all that. It's all his invention. Different iterations, That's someone says, man, you never get the same thing twice out of this guy. He comes up with stuff, And then right in the studio bass, he came up with something, for something else for another part of the song. So it evolves like that. Percussionist to aspect. Okay, so percussionist is actually Nubian.
right? Yeah, Nubia. You know, we know Nubian roots, right? More pyramids than ancient Egypt, than Egypt, right? Nubia, yeah, deep black history over there. First time he heard that we played that song, like, you know, when I brought it to the group, he was like, "Man, you're playing this is Nubian sound. This, you know what I mean?" So, in the change, we just before that, I can actually say Nubia because initially when we got to the change, he would just get there and start playing something that he was saying was Nubian. You know, I'm not familiar with what's happening with the Nubian church, right, over there. But he started playing this thing. So actually, when we get to that change, now I find myself saying Nubia, almost a signal to change. But basically, he comes in and he does this thing over there. You know, does some lovely stuff. You know, so yeah, that's musically. Those are the things I can say. Lyrically, it came main. I actually started. I think I wrote those lyrics came up at the pandemic time when it's social distance. So you know, this is a part where I say socialize in the distance. Yeah, so you know, social distance was separating us. And I was thinking of socializing the distance, you know, like we're going to interact anyway, you know. And yeah, so, but we're looking at Asata for us. You know, I hope our people are familiar with Asata, the sister,
Asata
Black
Shakur.
Liberation Army soldier. Yeah. You know, that, you know, the nation state government is trying to get, who lives in Cuba and all that, she's a political exile. Yeah. So they always see the state of Africa right now is such that someone like Asada should have been able to be in Africa and be protected by Africa. But she can't be there because Africa is vulnerable. That's why I'm saying that we're still fighting for our freedom. Cuba gave her protection. And she's been in Cuba all this while, you know. So I'm asking at one point in the song, what does Asata mean to you? Because her name is on people's minds a lot. But what does she mean to people? Because some people defend her in terms of, oh, she's innocent, you know, or, you know, COINTELPRO, which is all true. But we're not. What does she do? What does she stand for? Right? And those are the questions we want to ask. I mean, I wish we could have talked about some of these. These are things I'm interested in. Honestly, rather than talking about myself. And my experiences with, and you know, my musical experience and all that. The political thing is what drives me more, you know, because Slutzy is that art for me is political. Yeah, political. The aesthetics of art is very political. You know, just like how politics is art too, in a certain level. It takes imagination and creativity. So yeah, I'm looking at that. I sent this question, but I'm also obviously trying to discuss the notion of the human too. You know, the problematic notion of the human. And unfortunately, we've bought into an idea of a human as invented by white people. So I'm saying that the Homo sapien is supposed to be a wise human, right? If the human is not wise, why do we have these problems? Why do we have global warming? They said that only to feel good about themselves as white people. And we Africans were supposed to try to assimilate into the idea of a Homo sapien. They can have that. It's not a wise human. And we're not wiser than the elephant or the ant. You know what I mean? They always try to elevate us above them. You know, like we're the ones that could communicate. Now the scientists are finding out that trees communicate. You know, everything communicates, everything organizes, everything anticipates. But they keep talking about we're special, we got consciousness, we are the ones that can. Everything they say we do, they do. It's just that they don't do it our way. So we think they don't talk. We know they talk. We know insects talk. If we're going to be honest with ourselves. So that's what I'm just raising the point about the human Homo sapien was the fabrication. I like to talk about it in past tense because I'm thinking of like the youth, they don't have to deal with a lot of things we're dealing with. And if we're really serious about it, they may not have to deal with it. You know, when we start to draw the line on some of these farcical notions that we have had to deal with, you know. So those are some of the things I'm trying to deal with. I'm not sure I'm covering everything, but those are some of the ideas that come through in the lyrics.
In the song. All right. Yeah. So we have just like 4 minutes left. We have to prepare for another show, which is the Top 10 GH Reggae Dancehall Chart show, which will be coming on in about half an hour or so from now. Okay. But before we go, how do we get your music? For everybody listening, if they want to go and check your music in its fullness, how do they do that?
I got a lot of sound on Band Lab right now, but that's mostly my sound, like what I work on
as, I'll put it this way, me and the ancestors work on separate.
You definitely have to share it with somebody. If there's nobody to share it with, then it goes to the ancestors.
Band Lab, you know what I mean?
Band Lab, you said?
Yes, but I can send you the link. You can put it out there. But there's more, like in terms of the collective, we've got 2 studio works. And the one that we're pushing right now is Ride. We're about to actually release that publicly. It's available now, but we're going to actually start pushing it, you know, when the new year starts. So Ride is the one that's on right now.
I remember people that you heard it first on Radio Culture, right? Yes.
True.
Yes.
So you get it on Apple Music, you get it on Tidal, you get it on Deezer, you get it on Pandora, you get it on all the major digital
Amazon Music
platforms
and all that.
Amazon Music, definitely, yes.
Great.
But more work, look up for more works all over.
And then if one is doing the search, we search with 7 Fireside, right?
7 Fireside, yeah.
All right. So it's the number 7 and then Fireside. Oh, so 7 and Fireside together as one word.
One word, yeah. Right. 7 the digit and Fireside.
And Fireside. 7 FIRESIDE, one word. All right. Yes. Tell us about that though. 7 Fireside. What does that mean?
Okay. Wiro, I gotta salute Wiro too.
Empire.
Yeah, I'm glad we brought this up. Yes. You know, Coach Wiro.
Wiro's in the middle of naming all. Wiro has like 5 different bands that they are naming to him, right?
Yeah. He probably doesn't know this, but you know, Wiro actually kind of like financed the project, kind of executive produced the project, so to speak. That he got me with me or for me, right? And when it was time to name me, of course, I was like, I know there's 7 of us work. Initially, I was like, man, I was coming up with other names, and he was like, nah, you know, we got to put my name on it. I remember that was the conversation. I was like, nah, I was gonna go with that. So I eventually had to come up with something, right? So I said, we're gonna call it 7. Actually, the reason I came up with the name 7 was to say, you know, everybody else, you know, we have this thing in our can culture where 7 is symbolic, right?
Yes.
For me, it's everybody or the whole thing. So I was trying to do that to be anonymous, so to speak, too. To say everyone, 7 different people worked on the project.
Share the credit.
Kafui Day worked on our project with us. Kafui, you know Kafui Day?
Kafui, yeah, Raskaf.
Yeah. He was on our project too. Quage played guitar on all the songs. I worked with Quage throughout the project, and so on. There were other people. I'm sorry, I can't remember the names. So that was the project, right? So that was 7, right? But so I kept that name. Unfortunately, the more I walked to places, people asked me about myself. I started using the name 7, so it started becoming me as 7. But it was just a name I was using as a placeholder, right? So when I started working in the U.S., you know, working on the music generally, I just decided to use the word 7 as part of the name, and I don't know what happened. And I decided on Fireside. This was like maybe 20 years ago. You know, I've forgotten where the Fireside came from. Yeah, I was thinking about what we tell stories in Africa. Oh yeah, I wrote a song where at one point in the lyrics, I talk about being how we tell stories around the fireside in Africa, you know, and then later when I was deciding on a name for what I do, that line came to mind, like, you know, Fireside, you know. So I just pulled that Fireside, you know, and then later I heard about other, you know, we all know about other uses of the word fireside, right? Even in the Western context. And I was like, nah, that's not what we're dealing with. We're dealing with sitting around the fireside telling stories at night in Africa, right? So that's what I was, because we're telling stories basically, but not. I don't believe too much in the concept of narrative. We can talk about that. So that's where we tied it right there. You know, we tied into the 7 Fireside together. The idea is that 7 Fireside is supposed to represent all of us, you know, where we're vibing off of something, you know, and it's got to be Selassie, you know, that's the thing, you know, where's all this coming from? We owe all of this to Selassie. Rastafari is highly Selassie.
Sing. Yes, my brother, 7 Fireside. Blessed love. Give thanks so much for this edifying hour and 45 minutes or so of serious reasoning. And personally, I don't want to leave. I don't know about everybody else, just that, like I said, we need to make room for the next show, which is the Top 10 Days Reggae Dancehall Chart Show. If you've been waiting for that show and you feel like it's not happening or whatever, please, that's not the case. We're just caught up in a very, very uplifting interview, so we had to do justice to it. So excuse us for pushing the time back for a little bit, but it's definitely coming on in about half an hour or so. But yes, 7, give thanks and praises every time. Emperor Haile Selassie the first be praised every time for such a time as this, when I and I get to sit together and vibe and reason and reflect and share and do all that. So we thank you very much, and definitely
thank you.
This is not the last interview. This is going to be the first in a series of interviews. And matter of fact, we've had you on Radio Culture before, but this is the first time we've had you one-on-one, right? But we definitely will be knocking on your doors again, whether in a one-on-one or in a team, reasoning, to bring back some of the very serious and salient issues that you love ever so often to bring up and discuss, So we'll be doing lots of
Same here. I want to hear you out some more. Like I always tell you, man, I didn't get a chance to get into your side of things, but I hope I can come on your show and interview you, man. I wanted to.
I think we should make that happen. It's interesting you said that, because what, somebody was telling me that, but Russ, you're an artist too, and every time you are interviewing artists, so when are we going to see? And I'm like, okay,
So,
as soon as I can find somebody in this seat, so we'll make that happen. We'll switch places.
I'm glad I want to do it,
Great.
So I'm sure other people will want to do it too, but at least I don't mind going first.
Yes, definitely. I'm going to hold you. I'm going to hold you to that. One of these days,
just
the flyer will have me as the guest, and then we'll have you as the host, and then we'll see how that goes. Yes.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be
give
good.
Give thanks.
Yeah, you got a lot to give, man. Keep that a lot to yourself, Bridget. Yeah, give thanks for the reasonings. I know you gotta move forward and do the next thing, and salute the brethren. The brethren doing some serious work with the Ghana music scene. I've been tracking some of it. Sajifu. I know Freddie's doing some serious work there too. Fred Kente, and a whole other brethren than you.
Whole lot of them, including some youths. Some of the youths coming up these days, Jawais,
doing some serious work.
Yes.
Yeah, so salute all those brethren. I know I'm saying salute, so I'm saluting them, and we're inspired by the energy, and what they're doing, and forward, Selassie all the way,
every time,
front, back, and center,
every time, Rastafari.
Yes, bless brethren.
All right, every time.
With them, that's super great, yeah.
Miss Midasipa, Midasi. Yes, sir. Inshallah.
Oh, right.
So we're going to leave this one, like I said, with the brand new sound from 7 Fireside. Calls this one Ride.
justify your existence in the danger, yeah. Out of danger, yeah. Around the danger, yeah. From the dangerous. Ride the rightest thing out, the rightest thing out, yeah. Ride the rightest thing out, the rightest thing out, yeah. So we're not in the business of trying to be different now. We're not in the business of trying to be different now. Socializing the distance, we're never too far out, imprinting, inventing ideas. Some kind of thoughts, yeah, we never thought before. Right the right thing out, the rightest thing out, yeah. Right the rightest thing out, the rightest thing out, yeah. So we're not in the business of trying to be different now. No, we're not in the business of trying to be different now. No, dear, to the battling of our dignity, reach farther away. The music highly rush out, come on now, encourage us and feed the memory farther. What does a sucker mean to you? The sister mean to you? Word was out about burnout. Before the statues toppling, cut off cliffs, make a buck on living. Took a year. So the human home